Hello YouTube, today we're going to look at the following Dreamcast magazine DC UK. This is a Dreamcast publication in the UK. This is the very last issue, issue number 20, March 2001. Cost of £2.99 and published by Future Publishing. Without further ado, let's take a look at the front cover. So the big picture there is Fighting Vipers 2. At the bottom there you got Phantasy Star Online. Okay, and also a little bit there on Argatha. That's the cancelled game for the Dreamcast. So let's have a look inside. So, there we go, you've got the contents page there, and Argatha featuring prominently. It's an editorial by Lee Hart. This is one and only stint editing this magazine, because after this, the magazine was no more. Just a quick message on their website after this was the print run had finished, just saying goodbye, and that was it. So, let's take a look at Argatha there. So again, that's a cancelled Dreamcast game. Just showing you there how they make up that, that image of that gentleman there with the gun. Okay, and also on the page here. There we are. Okay, Shenmue is very linear. I want Argatha to be a real adventure game. Sadly it was never released. That never got to see fruition. Developed by No Cliche, of course, and when Sega stopped producing the Dreamcast, they also asked this game to be cancelled as well, which it duly was. Daytona USA 2001. Yeah, great preview there. It goes on to the next page as well. Something to catch my eye on this. I'll just zoom in on this piece of scandalous writing here. Amusement Vision has faithfully recreated the classic Daytona experience with such stark accuracy that it now owes more to its arcade parent than the half-R Saturn conversion. As playable as this was, the graphics were patchy and half-cooked, all judder and pop-up. Oh dear. Well, the Saturn version was more faithful to the arcade than this one. This had a really high deceleration rate and different car physics, so it's nothing really like the arcade, but I like both versions nevertheless. Of course, if you do want the original arcade version, either go to the arcade itself or pick up the recently released on the Xbox and 360. Okay, about the circuits there. And yes, just we already know enough about that game. The PAL version never had online, but I have to say that considering it had all these reports about people's games dropping out for the US and Japanese versions, I guess that's no bad thing. Okay, Skies of Arcadia there preview. It's due to be reviewed in the next issue, but as I say, it never was, because this is the last ever issue of the magazine. Last Blade 2 there from SNK. I own that game on the Wii. 60 Hz version I bought from the Wii U shop after modding my PAL Wii so it can play that game, because the speed is so slow on the PAL version. Gigglewing 2, a bit of a co-op game amongst the shmup fans. Not the sort of game that sells very well, but it certainly has a small but very dedicated following. So this sort of game we played for years to come by that clique of people. Rogue Spear, I think this is a port of a PlayStation game. I don't think it got particularly good reviews. Fairly generic FPS stealth game, so I'll leave that one there. Typing of the Dead, never ever got round to playing Typing of the Dead, sadly. I'd love to have seen it in the arcade. Sort of typing twist on House of the Dead 2, of course. I think what it got known for really is a silly thing you had to type in to defeat the zombies. Yeah, shame I never got to release it in the PAL territories and the Dreamcast, or ever saw it in the arcade, but looks good fun anyway. One day I might play it, but no loss if I don't. Evil Dead Hail to the King, this got pretty much panned. No real desire to play this, no real desire to buy it, so again I'll leave that one where it is. Ill Bleed, know nothing about that. That looks like it's another survival horror, and again no desire to play that either, but it's there. Advert there for another Future Publishing's magazines. The news, and this was at the time when the Dreamcast was being discontinued, so there's a lot of confusion here. Things were being updated on the internet all the time, but again this was just, they could only do one story before they had to run the printing presses, so saying there that the new games will be continued to be developed for the DC. I think they just got the truth that well, not the truth, but the news that the DC had been discontinued. Trying to put a positive spin on it, but sadly it wasn't to be. Knights there, looking for Knights game was going to come on the Dreamcast. It never did. A sequel did come out on the Wii, of course, and the HD remake on the PS3 and 360. Games arriving on the Dreamcast there over the next coming months and years. Preview there of Sonic Adventure 2, Shenmue 2 there as well, a few screenshots there, nothing we don't already know about. Yeah, part of the Daily Radar network, so a bit of news there. That story there about the broadband adapter costing $60 in the US, certainly worth a lot more than that now. Spawn there for the Dreamcast. Talking about the Sega Smash Pack and the possibility of Streets of Rage coming to the Dreamcast. Never did though. Up here, some rumours. Anything interesting there? Driver 2. No, nothing saying that it possibly could have come but never was. They didn't like the original Quake-free conversion of the PS2. There we go. Nothing much to say on that page. Again, this is Dragon Riders, never heard of it. Chart there for the UK Dreamcast games. Toy Racer is at the top because it's only £4. Looks like it's NBA Hoops there. Some mobile phone games. And one thing I do not miss are these horrible tip lines. And you think this is alright, but take a look how much they charged. £1.50 a minute, and that's on a landline. So I dread to think what happens with mobiles, and mobiles certainly weren't cheap back in 2001. Blimey. Dave 2000 here talking about the PlayStation 2 and saying that it's a tragedy of the PS2 steamrolls the Dreamcast. Well, it did, sadly, and that's the way it is. Much as I'm a Sega fan, you know, facts are facts, and the PlayStation 2 certainly sold a hell of a lot more. Advert there for gameplay, all Dreamcast stuff there. Gameplay are no longer in circulation as they became part of the game group who went bust a few years ago, and then just the shops came back. So, Shaka the Tambourine, sequel to Samba de Amigo. Talking about Street Fighter, Super Street Fighter 2 X there for the Dreamcast. Very sought after game now. Which are easily over £100 you want the original copy of that. Japan only, of course. Spike out there. Looks like that's Spiker's Battle for the Naomi on the arcade. Never saw on the Dreamcast, or there was a game put on the original Xbox. An advert for Spawn. Arcade news, the ATEI. Now, it's used to really follow the arcade scene quite well back in 2001. It was one of the best times in the arcade for me. I played most of these games, Wild Riders, never came to my local arcade, but was in Bournemouth Sega Park. Had a good time on that one. Club Kart, didn't really think much of that. It was the first game to use those IC cards. Wasn't much of a racing fan at that time, but alright I guess. Virtua Striker 3 there, not a football fan, so never really played it. Air Tricks there by Sega, thought that was great, love the internet ranking. And Ninja Assault, Ferrari F352, Confidential Mission, Vampire Knights. A really good time to be in the arcade at that time in my life. Certainly a real really today seemed pales in comparison compared to the stuff we had back then. Okay. Okay, and this is the review section. So we've got Phantasy Star Online there. Yeah, nothing we don't already know about that. Doesn't surprise me. Yuji Naka interview there. No guy no longer works for Sega. Big 10 out of 10 there. A superlative addition to the Phantasy Star series and the best RPG on the Dreamcast. Fighting Vipers 2 there. Only ever played the first one of that in the arcade. Never saw this one in the arcade. Never had any desire to buy it, but it got a 7 out of 10 anyway. Nice colourful game there. Project Justice, picked that up last year. Good game for the Dreamcast, still holds its value if you're a collector. We'd like to get into that a bit more. We have the time to play it. So you have excellent stuff there, and an 8 out of 10, which is well deserved. European Super League, football game, know nothing about it at all. 6 out of 10. I guess it was only released in Europe. There we go. Starlancer, a game for the Dreamcast that is still online to this day. The original servers were shut down quite recently, so that's how long they've been going for. But they've now made private servers for them, so this game will be online forever. An 8 out of 10. Haven't really played it that much, although I do own the game. Speed Devils Online. That's a game that is no longer online. I can't recommend that at all. I did a review on it and I absolutely slammed it. They gave it a 6 out of 10. I gave it about a 2, and I think that's all it really deserves because the handling is just ruined in this game. Never played it online. Again, if you like the online game, I'm sorry, but the handling's just ruined for me. You get the original. This is just rubbish. One thing I'll zoom in there is a ranking, internet ranking for the cache. Now the internet facilities are all gone. That seems the only thing that really remains of this is that that ranking page there. Not sure if they'll ever get this one back online, but to be honest, the way it plays offline, it's bad enough anyway. Championship Surfer, know nothing much about that game. 5 out of 10, so it looks like it's a fairly generic sports game. Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, 4 out of 10. Aqua GT, 3 out of 10. Didn't give them much prominence, those games, and judging by those review scores, I can see why. Advert for Games Master. One of the most popular games magazines in the UK, has been going for over 20 years, originally started as a game show, and there we go. So Guilty Gear X, of course, for the Dreamcast, great game there. Never came out here in the UK and PAL territories, but in Japan and US I think it did. Worth getting if you've got a Dreamcast. I own the PS2 version. And that's the directory list there, so not much to say on that. Reader reviews, of course. People's own opinions on certain games like Quake, Free Arena, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Ferrari F35 Challenge, and Royal Rumble. Tips guide, big guide on Tomb Raider Chronicles there. Only standard stuff you see in magazines at the time, nothing we don't already know about the game in that information there. Funny thing though, it says continued next issue. If you hadn't have known the history of this magazine, just by looking at it, you'd think there would have been an issue at April 2001, but no, this is the last one. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, very good conversion for the Dreamcast, one of its probably top games, although I won't buy it because I already have 3 and 4 for the Xbox original. Yeah, good stuff there, and again, but again, a fairly standard thing you get in magazines of this time. Codes there, just the controller codes for cheats, and also action replay if you wanted that. That's the bane of Phantasy Star Online players the world over. Okay, the next part there, if the magazine won't stick together. So, the competition page. Now, I'll confess to you, this is actually the reason I bought the magazine, because I wanted to see these Metropolis Street Racer scores. Sadly, this is really towards the end of its life. They only had some rather average scores sent in. Over here they are. Basically what you had to do, you had to enter any race and submit any kudos scores. Well, that means nothing. 2,300 kudos is really nothing at all. Don't tell you what race you entered, then who's to know? So not really well thought out that, and the fact they got some quite low kudos scores indicates to me that they really didn't get many entries for that at all. But anyone who put it there could have won yourself a Mad Catz controller and a DC UK t-shirt with Enjoy on the front, so make of that what you will. Okay, so here's the letters page. Just some replies to an article they did there about their shops trying to dissuade people from buying the Dreamcast, then replying back saying no, we're not. That's really all that's about. Playing the Saturn on the Dreamcast, no, you can't do that. And anything else there? No, that's just highlighting a letter that gives them lots of big ups, so to speak. It seems to be, but anyway, he's got a prize for it, so I guess that arse licking paid off. Yeah, okay. Question and answer stuff there. Nothing we don't already know here. Just asking questions about games. Some technical stuff here, there. Oh, not too bad this one. This is actually talking about the if the power went, just telling to unscrew it and pushing the prongs back so they make contact, saying though they don't share any responsibility if they do mess up, so there we are. But I'm surprised to see that there. It certainly wouldn't be in the official magazine, I say that. Okay, interactive news there, stuff you can do with the Dreamcast Online, Quake 3, how to make a perfect deathmatch, Broadband again for the Sega Dreamcast, America only, and Japan. $60, a hell of a lot more for that now. Phantasy Star, of course. Anything else there? Nope, nothing. Again, talking about a possible Knights game for the Dreamcast, which never came about. And 100 Swords. No, nothing about that either. A VMU website, VMU. Not sure that's still active now. It might be at archive.org. DC for Men. Something about men's magazines here. Future Publishing did do some lads mags as well, so I guess this is sort of crossover stuff. Nothing there at all, just advertising some of their websites. No, and more website advertising there. Subscribe. Well, there's no more subscriptions. You can do that except order back copies maybe. More adverts here. Same as our magazines made most of their money, premium rate lines and stuff. Next issue, of course, which never came about, was due to have a review of Skies of Arcadia, Daytona USA and Sonic 2 splash out there as well. March the 14th, no, sadly the game magazine never came out. This is the very last issue, as I've mentioned. Here, the Team Diary. Again, just looking at it, you wouldn't know that this was the last issue. Talking about how they sort of came about making this. And the very end there. Deadline is Monday. We're going to make it. Now we can look forward to worry-free weekend of sleep and FA Cup action. Hope your team wins, blah, blah, blah. And we'll see you next month. Yeah, sadly it was never meant to be. Okay, and again, one of my banes of these magazines, something I don't miss, are all these premium rate adverts where you have to call these numbers and possibly win a prize, but that's a 1,000,000 to 1 chance. But they made loads of money from this. But I guess, you know, you got to, if you want to have a magazine, you've got to advertise stuff like this, sadly, and they pay you money, so you can't complain where the money comes from. And of course, that's it. An advert for Giant Killers on the back, another football game for the Dreamcast. So that's it. Quick flick-through there of the last edition of DC UK. This is actually the magazine that got me into the Dreamcast. The very first issue had a article in it that said, "Tekken is dead, find out who done it." I opened it and found a preview of a Soul Calibur, and just by looking at, that's the time I knew that I wanted a Dreamcast, all the way back in '99. So, sad to say, the Dreamcast didn't work out, and this magazine was probably one of the first to go. So there we go, quick preview there, or a quick run through I should say, of DC UK, issue 20, the very final copy. Long live the Dreamcast. Thanks so much for watching, bye bye.